For the purposes of this election, I mean, let's be honest, Trump just won. He won. Not only did he survive an assassination attempt, he stood up without knowing whether there were other shooters there. He stood up and faced the crowd and raised his hand and said, "Fight, fight, fight." That's it. You do that, you win. And by the way, I happen to notice that the crowd, which also didn't know whether there were other shooters, who watched Trump get shot in the face, they did not bolt. It wasn't like a fire in a theater, actually. They sat there, they watched him intently, and when he stood up, they applauded him, and many cried. Why is that? Because a brave leader gives his people heart. That's why. That's exactly why.
A few days ago, in the context of the assassination attempt against Donald Trump, I exposed the German comedian LlED.
Yes, according to TMZ, Tenacious D gas dropped by talent agencies after Trump comment. They cancelled the show and they are facing deportation in Australia. Something is happening. Tenacious D singer birthday wish about taking out Trump has turned into his worst nightmare because his management team is getting him off, TMZ has learned.
A few days ago, in the context of the assassination attempt against Donald Trump, I exposed the German comedian LlED. He posts satire on X, and this is where he grew his incredibly large audience of around 700,000 followers. What is very important to note is that he is not just any comedian, he is paid for by the legacy media, which is taxpayer funded. And I have observed his account for years. He blocked me a few years ago because he's against anyone who challenges his very openly Marxist beliefs. And he often just so borders the line of going too far and wishing the absolute worst on people. Now, with the assassination attempt, he showed his true colors, and he made a post to show that he wishes Donald Trump had died. This post is deeply vicious, and it has come to my attention from many friends in my home country that this is an attitude that is supported by many. LlED inspires especially the younger generation in Germany to follow his lead, and they think it's funny to not only wish death upon Donald Trump, but death upon the American dream, death upon society. These beliefs are toxic and deeply anti-humanistic. In fact, I've just discovered another old tweet, thanks to my friend Miro, who made me aware of this, where he reposts Elon, who said, "If I die under mysterious circumstances, it's been nice knowing you." And LlED comments on this, saying, "No tweet has ever given me as much hope as this one." This should not be supported. I want to stress this again. LlED grew his platform on the former platform Twitter, which of course now is still X. And so this is his main platform. I believe it is time to ban him. Do you agree with me?
Yes, you might be wondering where I got this information. Elon Musk retweeted this video. Someone watching there on the leading US presidential candidate and myself is paid to do so by the German government. That is the question mark he put out. We have seen a lot of people advocating this on social media. From what I learned from this video, some have been paid to do that, especially when they have a large following. You know, a lot of these liberals came out to say, "Oh, this was staged, this was like this." I was asking myself, so the blood, somebody will stage something that will almost take his brain off to stage this. I was sad at a certain point because it is insane to think of it. A lot of people have debunked this conspiracy liberals are putting out. At first, I used to get like, "Oh, conservatives are the ones spewing conspiracy online." But the story is different from Trump case, from what I've observed these few days. Why?
Don't miss Trump next time.
I was at a Tenacious D concert in Australia. It was Jack Black singing happy birthday to one of his bandmates, and that was his bandmate responding. Tenacious D has canceled the rest of their tour. Black stating he was blindsided. Or blindsided. You would have addressed it right then and there. You wouldn't have waited for the video to go viral, and you wouldn't have waited for the Australian senators to call for your deportation. You're not mad that it happened, you're mad at the backlash. If you haven't noticed, there is somewhat of a reckoning going on right now. TikTok has been on a rampage since Saturday. People who got way too comfortable in their perceived anonymity online, comments from Facebook, making those people wildly popular. They missed shaking my head. Social media deletion. We were inches away from freedom. 3 pages of groveling on the internet for forgiveness. Yipes. Super bummed that they missed deleted social medias. And his company is handling the matter internally. Little to the right next time, please. Entire page of groveling on the internet for forgiveness. And he's resigning as fire marshal and fire chief. Damn, someone just barely missed. Fired. If you're gonna shoot, man, don't miss. Fired. Right? Like, bro, work on your skills. Fired. Rednecks, next time the shooter isn't going to miss. Fired, but not after trying to tell everybody on Facebook that he had been hacked. Shoot, if only he would have had his scope sighted correctly. Fired. During these discussions that I'm having on X about this whole thing, there is some people in the comments saying, okay, so it's cool now that the right is doing cancel culture. Cancel culture is okay now. If you would have asked me this question a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I would have said no. Would have said no, that it's not okay, that we need to do better. Spent years warning you that the tides were eventually going to turn and that some of you were too far to one side in order to pivot and make it back.
That is what is going on social media. And social media platforms are not doing enough. They should be able to look deep. This is not permitted. It should not be allowed. According to this girl, she tweeted this committee note that's suggesting that it's paid for by a public media fund. Yes, those are taxes, state money. The committee note on this video are so stupid. People are actually coming to try to debunk this, but from what Elon Musk has put out, a lot is being taken into consideration. They are looking to take a drastic decisions about people like this. We have seen this guy in Australia. Now he's facing deportation simply because he put out something ridiculous about Trump. I don't know who even taught him. Some got so excited, really wishing that Trump should not be alive, which is something. I will say this again. If you disagree with someone politically, never wish them dead. Yeah, you should be able to have this conversation with them frequently, maybe convince them to believe your own way. People coming out to, advocate for certain kind of things on social media, it is uncalled for.
We were a centimeter away from half of the problem being gone, and you missed!
No matter who the shooter, what the shooter's motives were, no matter who the shooter is, you are going to hear conspiracy theories going forward.
Motion picture soundtrack.
That's for after President Trump wins. That's the real goal is
the law school. He's going to be in there making a whole bunch of.
I thought she was fantastic for years.
Or less comfortable with a possible.
So a lot of people ask.
We, as Trump started.
And finally, new rules.
If you looked at the moment that you heard that